Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
On this week's special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, our favorite beef recipes from Chef Chenoa French.
And now, a special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to this week's special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us. What's better than a great beef meal? Let's take a look at some of our favorite beef recipes with Chef Chenoa French. A good beef roast is a wonderful way to celebrate any occasion with your friends and family, or just a nice meal on a Sunday evening. And joining me in the studio is Chef Chenoa French from the Chekhov-funded Beef Culinary Innovation Center at the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Thanks again for coming back to our show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it looks like you have an interesting recipe here that's all green in front of us. Tell us what you got going.
We do have an interesting recipe for you today. This is a pesto rub tri-tip with a warm tomato side with it. So that's what we'll talk about. We're going to start here with the tri-tip.
Yes.
This is part of the sirloin, and I went ahead and rubbed this with a pesto already, just because it's kind of a messy process. But
tell us a little bit about the tri-tip, because I know the Californians love it, but it's not a cut that everybody knows what it is.
You know, it's not. It's becoming more popular, and even I've noticed in the last 6 months here in Colorado,
you can find it.
We can find it in most retail cases anywhere you go. But like I said, it is a cut out of the sirloin.
Yep.
It's a tender cut. It grills great. It's not something that needs any braising or any moist heat to lead to tenderness. You can use a flavor marinade on it, but we don't recommend using a tenderizing marinade on it just because it is a pretty tender cut
already.
Yeah,
good.
So we've started with, like I said, a pre-made pesto.
Okay.
You can buy it at the grocery store. You can get it frozen. You can get it fresh. I think they even have it jarred now. We need about a half a cup. And you're going to start and just rub it all over. Like I said, it's kind of messy, so that's where they've started.
Perfect.
And then before we go into the oven, this is going to be an oven recipe instead of a lot of people think that this is something that needs to go on the grill.
Sure.
It can as the weather heats up and it's nice and warm outside. Most of the Californians will always use this on the grill. This is kind of one of those crossover recipes. So I'm going to top it off with a little bit of black pepper. Yep, just kind of give it the seasoning. I love black pepper. It's kind of the joke in the kitchen that if I've seasoned it, there's plenty in there.
Plenty of pepper.
But what I'm going to start talking about here is roasting pans. And we do use this in the oven. Most common.
Ovens.
This is most common ovens. This is a broiler pan, technically. This usually comes with all standard ovens. It usually is in that bottom drawer. The nice thing about it is it has a bottom, kind of catches all your drippings down there. So this is an option that you can use. Another option, and what I'm going to go ahead and stick it in, is this is just a different type of roasting pan. It's got a little bit of a grate on the bottom. The most important thing that you need with a roasting pan is that there is something on the bottom of your pan keeping your beef off the bottom.
I see.
Because what happens is when you're truly roasting, you need to make sure that it's on there and the air will circulate all the way around the product, come underneath. If you were to put this in the bottom of the pan, as it cooks, there's water, moisture that comes out of your product, and then you're going to have steaming action on the bottom of your pan. You won't get a nice, that caramelization or the Maillard reaction all the way around the food.
A wire rack would do the same thing?
Absolutely. If you have some sort of a metal cookie sheet at home with a wire rack, as long as it's not plastic, absolutely. So this just gets placed right in the center here.
Perfect. Very good. That's easy enough. And then you stick it in the oven?
Yep. And I'm going to go ahead and stick this in the oven, 425 degrees. So we are roasting. It's a little higher temperature, and it only goes in there for about 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's not a long recipe. Make sure you put it in, the middle to the upper 2/3 of your oven. You don't want it real low against the bottom of the oven because you'll have a lot of heat down there. So set your timer. Make sure that you pull it out at 135 internal temperature for medium rare. When you pull that out, it's going to rest and come up in temperature. So we recommend using an internal
135 for medium rare.
Yep.
Easy enough.
Yeah. So in the process, we're going to make our tomato topping that goes on that. Goes on top of the plate. This is a can of Italian stewed tomatoes. 1 can, real simple, any brand, into a sauce pot. I'm going to turn this up a little bit.
Okay.
You're going to want medium heat, nothing more. What you're looking to do is to reduce this down and pull the moisture out of the tomatoes, so it's more of a thickened sauce.
I see.
A half a cup of white diced onions. If you want to use yellow, you can.
Whatever you like.
Just for flavor, so those get mixed in there. And then the recipe, as you see, will call for pesto to go in here as well.
Okay, sure.
But the trick with that is you want to wait until this sauce gets reduced.
Why is that?
All the way. If you add it now, the fresh herbs and stuff that are in here will end up getting cooked.
Oh.
They don't need to be. As you add this in, it'll also give you more of a brown color. It's going to muddy your clarity on this. Because pesto doesn't need to be cooked, it will not, it'll kind of mute the flavor of the pesto at the end. So again, this goes on medium heat. Doesn't really need to be watched. It can kind of be stirred.
For about how long?
Ever so often, about 15 to 20 minutes. Like I said, same kind of time. Get your roast in, that real simple ingredients go in, and you kind of let it go.
That's outstanding.
Watch it so it don't burn. You don't want to cook
good.
it too fast. Yeah. And in the Italian stewed tomatoes, that can has a little oregano, a little garlic, but it's real simple. So we're going to let this go. Once most of your moisture is out of those tomatoes, you just dump in and go ahead and give it a stir.
Outstanding.
And then what you have over here is as you pull your roast off, like I said, make sure you let it rest. So you'll take it out, pull it out of the roasting pan. Because if you leave it in the roasting pan and tent it, it'll cook much more and then it'll be overcooked.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, that carryover temperature is important that you let it rise and rest. But if you leave it in that hot pan and tent it just a little bit, yeah, you're going to have a roast more done than you had anticipated.
And then you just cut it against the grain?
Yep, most important thing is you slice it against the grain. And as you see, this does have still a little green color to it, but it's kind of something unusual. And it's got a great flavor, pinkness on the inside,
That's
and then you
fantastic.
just add those great stewed tomatoes next to it.
What a great recipe. That's outstanding. Thanks so much for coming and sharing this again with us, Shanoa. We really appreciate that. And for this and other great beef recipes, just visit our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. Special occasions or not, chances are a hot and juicy steak right off the grill is on your menu this summer. And here to give us some grilling tips to help us make that perfect steak is NCBA chef Laura Hagen. Welcome, Laura, to the show.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great. You know, summer grilling season is just around the corner, and I know a lot of us spend times around our barbecue grills. What tips would you give us for making that perfect steak on the grill?
Well, I think you have to think of your grill as a little bit like an oven. And people get a little scared about putting something on a really hot grill, but what you can look at is then you have a cover to your grill. You can usually use direct heat and indirect heat to kind of play around a little bit. So if you have a thicker cut of meat, I would suggest searing it, which is to get it really, really hot on the bottom grid, and then move it up to the top, close your grill, and then all of a sudden you've got kind of an oven that will heat it through without making it burn or anything like that. We also really recommend that you only use tongs when you're working with meat on the grill. Beef, if punctured, will lose those beautiful juices that we really want to keep in the steak. And when you take the steak off the grill, probably about the time you get indoors from outside, you're actually ready to cut into it. But just make sure it rests for a couple minutes before you slice into it so you don't lose those juices.
That's great. And in terms of cuts, if you're looking at the grocery store and trying to pick out a favorite cut, what would you tell our viewers relative to cuts that are particularly appropriate for grilling?
For grilling, my favorite's New York strip. I just think that's a really, really nice. It's usually sliced about 3/4 inch to 1 inch thick. It's just a beautiful steak, and you get a lot of those in steakhouses. Also, a T-bone. And now you're seeing a lot more flat iron out there, so those are really nice and really easy to grill. They're not too thick and really easy to grill.
You didn't mention ribeyes.
Oh, and ribeyes.
Ribeyes,
sorry,
of course.
we got that too.
Ribeyes.
You know, I have to kind of go down that
Absolutely.
list. So.
Well, but seriously, for folks that may be on a budget, you know, we're putting $4.50 or $5 gas in our vehicles and so forth, what would you tell folks that say, hey, I want a steak, but I can't break the bank buying it?
Right. Well, I think it's just important that you, number one, think about what you can spend, because certainly you don't want to compromise the quality of the meat that you buy. But one steak that I would really highly recommend for grilling as well as other applications is sirloin. And sirloin really kind of hits below some of those more expensive cuts, and it really does turn out really nicely on a grill, and you can make all sorts of different types of steak cuts and kebabs and that type of thing. Well,
I'm going to put you on the spot. What's your favorite way to grill a steak?
Well, my favorite way to grill a steak is for sure to put a rub on it. I really, really like to put a rub on it. Another thing that I'll do is sometimes take a skirt steak, which is a less tender cut of meat, and actually marinate that a little bit. So I like to use a rub for flavor and a marinade for tenderizing. So it's just a nice way to kind of switch up what I want to do on the grill, and put it on there and then take it off and have some good corn on the cob with it, and I'm good to go.
You're making my mouth water as we speak. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You bet. For more great grilling tips and beef recipes, visit us online at cattlemantocattleman.org. Who doesn't love a good bagel? So why not try out a bagel with a little beef? Joining me in the studio today is Chef Shanoa French from the Chekhov-funded Beef Innovations Culinary Center at the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Thanks so much for coming back to the show.
Thanks for having me back.
Well, you've got a great kind of a sandwich bagel recipe for us today, it looks like, and pretty simple one at that.
We do. We have a real simple recipe. This is our beef and cream cheese bagel sandwich. So it's kind of a little play off of salmon and lox.
Sure.
For whatever section you'd like. If you want to do it with brunch, it can be on the tables, or you can do a build your own, or you can wrap it up and take it for lunch in there. So this is a real quick one. We're going to start with a nice build. We're going to do some everything bagels, and we're using the real thin bagel, the bagel thins right now.
Very good.
Just a little bit less carbs.
Sure. Something
to be health conscious about for the new year. We're going to use this recipe with some roast beef. This can be deli roast beef. It can be leftover brisket. It can be a steak, whatever you have at the house, or whatever you choose to use for this recipe. Some nice purple onions. They'll give you a little bit of that onion kind of sharp flavor. And then some thin sliced tomatoes, real standard. And towards the end, we're going to top it off with some capers.
You bet.
These have a little bit of salty brininess, and they use it a lot with the fish to kind of bring that out natural see, but it plays great with the roast beef as well.
No, I like those. That's great.
So here we're going to start. Bagel thin, you don't need to toast it. If you want to toast it, you can. Whatever is easiest for you. We're going to start with a little bit of low-fat cream cheese. If you want to use a flavored cream cheese, you can, but we don't necessarily recommend it with all the other flavors that we have going on. So use about a tablespoon. Just kind of cream it on.
Spread that on both sides, or one side, or whatever you like.
Both sides. We're going to do it on both sides. Kind of, we call this the glue on your sandwich. It kind of sticks everything in there and keeps it all together.
Yeah, sure. So. I'll have you try it with the tomato, and we'll see how glued it is, all right? Most of the time when I have it, goes everywhere.
Not shooting tomatoes at you? Okay, that's a deal.
I'm not sure if it's strong enough glue, but I understand. Oh, that's great. No, but that's real easy. And
all right, so a little bit of cream cheese. And here I'm going to build, make sure you pay attention to which side is up when you build, because otherwise you'll have an upside down sandwich.
I understand.
We always like to start with
That'll be the next show. Yeah.
Absolutely. Start with your beef on the bottom. And I make sure that you kind of lay out your beef so that you don't have clumps of it. If you're using steak, make sure it's sliced thinner so that you're not pulling it all out when you bite into the sandwich. Make sure you use something that's tender enough that you can bite into it. So give yourself a nice couple layers of beef on there.
You bet.
We're going to throw some purple onions.
I love purple onions.
See, and I don't like raw onions on sandwiches.
But
you know, they add great flavor on there. So a couple of those. And here I'm going to stick the tomatoes on the top next to our glue.
Next to our glue.
2 little tomatoes down there.
And
I'm going to grab some capers. And here you can do as many as you want. These are kind of jumpers too. So I either stick them in the middle, or if you want, you can also kind of stick them
on the glue.
In the cream cheese. Will make them stick a little bit. I'm going to spread those guys around.
That's great.
And then it's a real quick and simple lid.
Slap it together.
And so what we have done here on the plate, this is would be a brunch option. So we plated it with a little bit of fruit. You can put these out on platters. If not, if you wanted to, wrap them up in saran wrap, like I said, and put it in your lunchbox, and you're good to go.
A great, healthy, and tasty sandwich, or like you say, a great brunch offering. This is great. Thank you for doing that.
Perfect.
I'd love to start to try that, Shanoa, but I am not going to because I'll wear the tomatoes. For this and other great beef recipes, visit our website at cattlemantocattleman.org.
Join America's cattle industry for the 2011 Summer Conference in Orlando, Florida. It's a great opportunity to meet your fellow cattlemen and women, plus spend time planning for the future of your operation and our great industry. Bring the whole family and join us in Orlando, Florida for the 2011 Cattle Industry Summer Conference, August 1st through 4th. For details, call 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit us at beefusa.org. We'll see you there. Comprehensive, practical, powerful. Now's the time to put the power of DNA to work in your herd with the Comprehensive Identity Profile. The inside information from Identity can help you make more confident replacement heifer and herd sire selection decisions, add marketability to your feeder cattle, make faster genetic progress, and more. The best time to get started is when you're already working cattle, during branding, weaning, or bull soundness exams. Get started today. Visit iGenity.com or call 1-877-IGENITY to put the power of DNA to work in your herd.
You take pride in the beef you raise. Countless hours invested to assure a safe and wholesome calf crop. Why trust that calf crop to just anyone? Experience the new Dinklage difference with a long history and reputation for outstanding performance and cattle care. We use a combination of cutting-edge technologies and data-driven decision-making to establish our place as leaders in the cattle feeding industry. Allow Dinklage to be a part of your team in the quest to maximize your profits. With 5 locations to serve you in Wyoming, Nebraska, and Colorado. For more information on the new Dinklage difference, stop by one of our yards or visit us on the web at dinklagefeedyards.com.
If you're looking for a stress-free beef meal for your family, we have just a perfect recipe for you. And joining us today is Laura Hagan from the culinary team at NCBA. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, tell us what you've got here. It looks a little bit like Hamburger Helper, but I bet you're going to tell us it's something else.
Never. We wouldn't make Hamburger Helper in my home.
That's right.
Or in our NCBA offices.
What is this?
Essentially, we're making it very easy for people around the holidays when they want to switch and kind of stay away from the big roasts and stay away from the big birds and all that kind of thing.
Right.
When you're done with that, or if you're not in the mood to do that and you want something
shopping,
simple, this is supposed to be stress-free for you.
Perfect.
So basically what we've done is we've taken some ground beef.
Okay.
And ground beef is really neat. It's very versatile. Yeah. You can actually get ground beef that's like 96% fat. Yeah. Sorry, 96% lean.
Exactly.
96% lean and 4% fat, or you can go, this is a 90% in 10. Sure. And you can go even to the 80-20, which obviously will just give you a little bit more liquid, a little bit more grease will come out. Sure. So if I were doing a fattier cut or ground beef, then I would probably take this out and drain it so that I can get rid of any extra oil. Right. So why end up having that in your dish itself?
But with a 90-10.
Yeah, 90-10 is pretty lean. 96, of course, is going to be a little bit better than that. But as you can see, we've just put it in a pan and we browned it. Usually takes anywhere from about 8 to 10 minutes. And you want to make sure it's good and done. Yeah.
Clear liquids, right?
Yeah, clear liquid. You just want to get rid of that pink cast. Yeah. It's very hard to measure temperature on ground beef, obviously, but we like to cook it to 160 degrees. Yeah. So it's nice to get it all done. It's not going to change really the texture of it. Yeah. You don't really overcook it, especially when you're using it like this and it's in crumbles. Yeah. So basically that's just going to cook for a little bit longer here.
Couple pounds or?
That's actually about 2 pounds.
2 pounds, yeah.
Yep. And then we're actually going to talk a little bit about the pasta. Okay. Okay. So instead of having to heat up boiling water, as we know in Colorado, it takes longer to heat water, right? Harder to get it to boil. What we're going to do is we're actually going to cook our pasta in the liquids that are going to be a part of this whole dish.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we're going to use a can, just a simple can of, I like to use reduced sodium beef stock. Okay. That you can just buy in a can at the grocery store. And then we're also using Italian-style diced tomatoes. Okay. So these already have some basil, some oregano, a little bit of garlic in them. Okay. So you've got all your flavors. No other seasoning needs to go in there.
And no water.
No water. Okay. The diced tomatoes will release some water. Yeah. And there's also quite a bit of sauce in the pan.
Oh, outstanding.
And with the stock, you're obviously going to be using that as well. What you need to make sure you do, of course, is you need to make sure as you're cooking the pasta, you kind of keep pushing it down. Okay. Make sure that you're actually getting
crunchy pieces.
Right. You don't want to have some crunchy pieces on there. And that'll take anywhere from probably 10 or 15 minutes, but super simple. And you just kind of keep it on a medium heat and let it go. Okay. So essentially, the only other ingredient we're going to add to this, other than a little topping, is zucchini.
Oh, really?
Okay.
All right.
Zucchini is actually just a really great vegetable. People during the summer, of course, are growing it like crazy. Exactly. But it's available year-round. Yeah. And all we did is take the zucchini and create these little coins.
Easy enough.
You know, frankly, you can cut it in any type of way you want. Yep. The key is with any type of vegetable, when you're cooking it all in the same pot, you want to make sure that you're cooking them, you're cutting them in consistent
Oh, so they
pieces.
have
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to cut
yeah.
something, you know, super skinny and then put one in like this,
exactly.
right?
All right, gotcha.
So we're just going to do about a 1/4 inch slice
sure.
like that.
Yep.
Okay, so that's
easy
super
enough.
simple. And this is actually going to come in to play here.
After you add the hamburger or before?
And actually, I like to add the hamburger right at the end.
Oh, okay.
So that it doesn't, you can kind of judge how much liquid you have.
Sure.
We're going to put these in here.
Yeah.
It's about 2 cups.
Outstanding.
And we're going to mix those in there.
And just let
those will cook for about 5 minutes.
About 5 minutes, all right.
Yeah, the thinner you cut them, obviously, the thinner,
Yeah.
or the shorter period of time it'll take to get them done.
Yeah, that's a lot of color.
Yeah, doesn't it? It looks real pretty. And you're sneaking in a vegetable.
Vegetable, that's
and
right.
it also tastes just like tomatoes and pasta.
Yeah.
So you can kind of sneak that in for the kids.
Exactly,
Right?
yep.
And then all we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of our beef here.
Yep.
And we're going to put that right in here.
Outstanding.
And we're going to toss it all together.
And you've got a dish that you can
Super easy.
very easy and very quick on those busy school nights, or like you say, the busy holiday. I am going, while you're finishing that, I'm going to try a piece of this here.
What do you think?
I love it. Yeah, I love the Italian flavoring. You can really tell them.
Yeah, and I should
Flavoring
mention
tomatoes.
too that we also put a little bit of Parmesan cheese. So that just adds a little bit of flavor and a little bit of saltiness. And then we just put a little breadstick on the side.
That's great. My kids love this.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
For more information and other great beef recipes, visit cattlemantocattleman.org. Beef is great to incorporate into your holiday celebration, so why not a beef appetizer for your guests? Here with us today to teach us about an easy appetizer that includes beef is Shanoa French. Thanks for coming back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, tell us about these beef pinwheels.
All right, we're going to do a real quick, easy recipe.
Okay.
This is a great appetizer that you can keep 4 simple ingredients in your freezer, and so you get that last-minute party invite, and your wife's like, "What am I going to make?" Here, it's 4 quick ingredients out of the freezer, and you're set to go.
Yeah.
This is also something that can be made a couple days ahead and kept in the refrigerator, and then just slice and bake.
Oh, that's great.
So we're going to start here with some puff pastry.
Okay.
This is usually found in the local freezer section, and it just needs to be slacked out on the counter for about 45 minutes to an hour before you're going to use it.
Okay.
So you want it kind of pliable.
All right.
It comes with 2 pieces, and you will need both of them when you're making this recipe.
All right.
So we're going to take it and just unfold it.
Okay. Oh, I see. It's just, you just unroll it.
Yeah, so it kind of will come out as a little sheet here.
I see.
And this recipe calls for just cutting this in half, so you start with 2 pieces.
Yep.
I'll borrow this from you.
I'll let you, if you want the knife, take the knife.
I'll take it.
Shanoa.
I'm going to
No
slice
worries.
this right in half.
Okay.
And we're going to pull them apart a little bit because we'll do them separately.
All right.
We're going to start with some pre-cooked pot roast. You can find this in the local freezer case, refrigerator case, or if you've made pot roast and you have some left over. It's just the shredded beef part.
Sure.
So if it's any in gravy, we don't need the gravy part.
I see, yeah.
This has been heated up and then just shredded by your fingers. So I'm going to put a little bit of that on. Want to make sure that we leave a good 1/2 inch so we have a lip to seal the pinwheel together. So don't go edge to edge.
Okay.
You want to get good coverage on both sides.
Pretty thick or not?
Don't get it too thick because you need to be able to roll it.
Oh,
Just like when you're making burritos, you don't want to over roll them because then they bust type thing.
So that's what my problem's been.
Don't overstuff them is the trick.
Yeah.
So a good nice layer, like I said, cover out so both sides so that you get a good piece on either end.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So, and then the next thing we're going to move on to is Asiago cheese.
Oh yeah.
This is just a shredded. You can either buy it shredded or you can buy it in a square and shred it yourself, whichever is easiest.
Sprinkle that on. Make it nice and gooey a little bit.
Yeah, again, not too much. Otherwise, you'll be having things ooze and you can't get your pinwheel rolled tight.
That's good.
So a good topping on there.
That's perfect. Beef and cheese. It's looking good so far.
Can't complain, right?
No kidding. But what's the green stuff?
The next one, these are just green onions.
Oh, okay.
And so I've taken them and cut them in half lengthwise and then again in half. So you have nice thin strips on them.
I see.
And you're going to lay them on here just nice with the length of the puff pastry.
Okay.
If you don't want to cut them this way and you want to just chop them,
I see.
you can. This will just give you a more even distribution of the onions.
All right.
So I don't love them, so I'm only going to put a couple on there.
Okay.
But if you love more, you can add them.
All right.
So the next thing is we're going to just take them and roll it up this way. And this last little lip, we're going to brush with a little bit of water to kind of seal the edge together.
Oh, I see.
So I'm
Gotcha.
going to
Make it
use
a
a
little
pastry
stickier.
brush and just go real light across the edge.
So you're thinking that's about a ½ inch or so?
Yeah, just that nice so you get
very good.
kind of a seal.
Okay.
Start with your long end.
Yeah.
And again, you just kind of roll them.
Roll it up gently.
Yeah.
Huh? That's great.
Do a nice little roll. Kind of tuck your little pieces in there.
Yeah.
Roll towards the outside.
I see.
And then you stick them down. So this is at the point if you wanted to make this a couple days ahead, you would get to this point and then wrap them in saran wrap real tight, and then you put them in the refrigerator.
Oh, okay.
So at this point you could do all 4 sets, put them in the
ready.
refrigerator, and that way they're ready to go.
This
is one that I did earlier, and then the next step is going to be to take this and cut them at about a ½ inch pieces all the way down. So if you want to go ahead and start
I can do that part of it. That's
yeah.
good. I see. Without trying to smush them too much,
don't smush
right?
them. The important thing is to have a real nice sharp knife.
There you go.
So that you have that. And I've
you've
done
already done
dozen
it.
or so
Perfect.
up ahead.
Yeah.
So what you'll do is you slice them down and then you kind of lay them on a baking sheet.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yep. Just like that.
If you're not going to use parchment, make sure you spray your cookie sheet just so that they don't stick.
Okay.
And then they go into a hot oven, and they really only cook for 12 to 15 minutes. So the most important thing is that you don't over brown your pastries.
At about how many degrees?
I think it's 375, 400. I know it's written on there.
Fantastic.
But it's that hot oven, and
so you cook them, and
they're quick, and then they come out, and you can serve them warm, or if you need to wrap them and take them to a party, you can do that.
Sure.
On this platter, we paired it with a little brick of the Asiago cheese and some grapefruit, so that you can kind of have that complete platter when you go to the guests.
That's great. I like that. That's a great way to feature beef at or for an appetizer, and so many times we see chicken and everything else served except beef.
Well, and it's a great thing. A lot of people are doing pot roasts in the wintertime and around the holidays, and it's that leftover that I can use this for a quick last-minute invite.
Thanks for that idea. I really
welcome.
appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
For more information on this and other great beef recipes, visit us at cattlemanandcattlemen.org.
I am an NCBA member.
I am an NCBA member.
NCBA is my eyes and ears, and most importantly, my voice, because I can't be on Capitol Hill all the time. But my membership through NCBA has people that are there that know what my concerns are and can inform me when those issues come up that are affecting my day-to-day operations and can take actions on those appropriately.
I'm an NCBA member.
I'm an NCBA member because I believe that this organization is determined to preserve the way of life that those of us growing up in the cattle industry have grown to love.
I am an NCBA member.
I am an NCBA member.
I am an NCBA member.
Join me today.
Like you, Boehringer Ingelheim Vetmedica Incorporated knows the territory. With over 30 years' experience, you can rest assured that when you work with us, we work for you. We have an extensive line of vaccines and parasite control products for beef cattle and offer professional support in the field. We're continually bringing you innovative animal health solutions to help you build the most profitable beef operation possible. Boehringer Ingelheim. When it comes to your herd, we've got your back.
Quality hay starts with quality equipment. That's why it pays to go with the long green line. Get the hay tools you need to tackle everything, from the first cutting through the last bale of the season. Choose John Deere and get quality that lasts, reliability that stands the test of time, and resale value you can take to the bank. All backed by the finest dealer network in the land. John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer.
Get 0 for 48 or big cash discounts on select John Deere hay equipment through August 1st. There's never been a better time to trade. See your local John Deere dealer soon.
Welcome back. For many of us, celebrations often include a special dinner at home or a night out at your favorite restaurant. And for the past couple of years, a Beef Checkoff funded promotion has been encouraging people to make beef a part of their celebration. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter has more.
When consumers think of beef, they may think of steaks on the grill in midsummer. But beef producers, through their Checkoff investment, are working to expand that thinking with a beef marketing campaign from February through June.
One of my favorite public relations programs is the I Heart Beef program, which we introduced last year. The I Heart Beef program was rolled out in February around Valentine's Day, and it encourages folks to enjoy the wholesome, lean, nutritional value of beef.
The promotion and the website beefitswhatsfordinner.com feature recipes perfect for two, like the two-step and tenderloin and grilled T-bone steak for two. The I Heart Beef promotion offers a fun way to express your love of beef and say I love you every day.
It approaches the promotion program with a little bit of a lighthearted, whimsical touch, and just makes people feel good about enjoying the beef that they love.
The Beef Checkoff-funded I Heart Beef public relations program has a nationwide reach in newspapers, grocery stores, restaurants, and through social media. I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
For more information on the I Heart Beef program, visit our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. It's a dish you don't often see outside the month of March, but corned beef is a great everyday recipe. And joining me in the studio is Chef Genoa French from the Checkoff-funded Beef Culinary Innovation Center at the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Thanks again for coming and sharing this recipe. I have to tell you, Auctioner is not exactly an Irish name, but I am interested when you put corned beef and cabbage together. So tell us what you have.
Well, today the recipe is slow-cooked corned beef with a red currant mustard sauce. So this recipe is ideal for those that want to start it in the morning, go away to work, and then come back. I know St. Patrick's Day this year is on a weekend, so that's not as necessarily a problem. Sure. But if you want to do this on the stove, you can. It takes a little bit less time. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start here with crock pot. Yep. And go ahead and load all our ingredients into this and set the timer and walk away. We're going to start with 2 medium-sized onions. You don't need to cut them real small, just quarter of them. They're giving us flavor, so that's kind of their purpose. Okay. And then 3 stalks of celery. Very good. So we're going to dump this in here. In the bottom. That's in the bottom. That kind of gives you the base, so nothing burns down there as well. Okay. The next thing, we're going to take about 2.5 pound brisket, depending on how much you need for your family. One trick is make sure that it fits in your crock pot. The bigger you get, the bigger crock pot you're going to need. Correct. So this will come corned already. It's brisket that's corned. It'll come in a package. Yep. Usually has a pickling seasoning with it. The package yeah, with it? If it doesn't have one, you'll need to just get some in the grocery aisle. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this inside. Yeah. Just right on top. Yep, just right on top. I'm going to stick it in there. Okay. Then your dump seasoning? Your seasoning on top. Very good. And then the other trick to this is 1 can of beer. Oh, so go ahead and pick your favorite, whatever you have in the refrigerator. Sure. Just a 12-ounce can or bottle. Very good. Goes right on top. Yep. And you do need a little bit of liquid. This will help with the cooking process. This is a non-tender muscle right at the beginning, so it needs that slow, moist heat cooking to kind of break down. Do you put the fat side up or down, or does it matter? It doesn't matter. I always put it down. If you're going to be cooking it in a pan with more of an intense heat source, make sure you put it down because it'll kind of protect it a little bit. Gotcha. If you're grilling, you would always put fat up so it runs down. Sure. But in a crock pot, it doesn't matter. Lid on. Throw it in the crock pot. On high for 6 to 7 hours, on low for 9 to 10. So depending on how quickly you need it, which process. This goes in the morning, you walk away. Walk away from when you get home at night and you're ready to eat, you'll need another 25 minutes before you're ready to eat. We're going to do vegetables and the sauce. So we're going to start here. These actually get done in the microwave. It's the easiest way, and you can combine them all together. You're going to take about 1.5 pounds cabbage. More if you like it, a little less if you don't. And green cabbage, don't use the red. Right. Red new potatoes. Yep. And then just some carrots. Okay. Real easy. Easy enough. One trick I'm going to show you with the cabbage is this is a real kind of a bitter, strong piece in there. Yep. You're not going to want to eat that. But if you cut it out, you take the core out before you cook them, you're not going to be able to get them out of the pot as easy. Okay. So what I recommend is that you cut them and leave this in. And it helps hold them together. Hold the leaves together. And then once they're all cooked, you can pull them out and then just slice this out real quick. That is an interesting trick. So make sure that you cut your cabbage down enough so that it cooks consistently. In this pot, as you see, obviously your potatoes and your carrots are much smaller. So even size pieces to some degree to make sure everything cooks evenly. Gotcha. You just take a nice good slice off. Piece of that is still left in there. That's and see this piece right here at the bottom kind of holds all your leaves together. Oh, that's great. Now, once you've microwaved them, you add about 1/2 cup of water to this, put saran wrap over the top, stick it in the microwave. Goes for 12 to 15 minutes, depending on the power of your microwave, and how soft you like your vegetables. Obviously, the longer, the softer they'll get. If you don't like them real mushy, don't let them go as long. Once they're all done, you're going to take your cabbage out and go ahead and slice off this core. So then you're done. you just slice this little guy off and don't eat him. He'll be kind of a bitter, hard texture. Once your vegetables are all done, you're going to go ahead and add a little bit of butter to them. So just kind of pour that in, toss them all around, and a little bit of black pepper.
Perfect.
Some seasoning.
That's easy enough.
That's easy.
So what do we have here? Jelly?
So this is our red currant jelly.
Really?
You can find red currant jelly. It kind of looks like strawberry or anything else, but it'll have a different flavor.
Interesting.
In the jelly aisle, and you take a whole jar of it. And again, this is something that's done in the microwave, and this is done right at the end.
Okay.
You're getting ready to sit down. It's a quick process. You microwave it, and this has kind of been sitting just a minute, but microwave it so that it gets soft and loose. Not quite pancake syrup consistency, but kind of like that, Because what happens is you'll take your jelly that's warm, and you'll mix in 3 tablespoons of Dijon mustard.
Really?
So go ahead, and that gives that little bit of corned beef and cabbage mustard flavor. So mix that in. If you want to use an old style with the seeds in your mustard, you're more than welcome to.
You can do that as well.
Yeah, but go ahead and you can mix them together. You can use a whisk if you have a little bit bigger bowl, whatever is easiest for you.
Wow.
But the warmer your jelly is, the smoother this consistency will get.
That makes
and
sense.
it kind of gives it a little bit of reddish brown color.
Interesting.
Like I said, just keep mixing it until you have your consistency. If you let it set a little bit and you need to stick it back in the microwave, go ahead and give it like 30 seconds. Whisk it. Make sure as you take these dishes out of the microwave, they will be very hot. So just be careful about that. We don't think about necessarily in the microwave. And then go ahead and slice up your corned beef.
That's a great looking dish.
Yeah, put your carrots and your vegetables. We pulled a little bit of the celery and onions out. They do break down quite a bit. Again, they're primarily for flavor, but if you want to add them to your dish, go right ahead. And then whatever you don't eat at dinner can be hashed for the next morning.
That's fantastic. You got it all, that and Lucky Charms.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming again. This is a great, exciting recipe. For this and other great beef recipes, visit our website at cattlemantocattleman.org.
These days, more cattlemen choose Draxxin to fight BRD than any other brand. Here's why.
It works. We have fewer repulls, and the ones that we do repull respond, and we have fewer chronics in the end.
To retreat anything it's a lot more expensive than using Draxxin as a first time.
And the evidence backs up what most cattlemen already know. Draxxin cuts retreats by 50%. So talk to your veterinarian and check the online calculator at Draxxin.com. You'll see why Draxxin should be your first choice to fight BRD.
Basically what it's allowed us to do with our operation is run more cattle through in a given period of time. It's just really been a good product to use.
Do not use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older. Do not use in calves to be processed for veal. Draxxin has a pre-slaughter withdrawal time of 18 days. Please visit Draxxin.com or call 1-888-DRAXXIN for more information.
You're not responsible for the weather, just the cattle. And Rangeland works as hard as you do to deliver performance, production, and profitability. Cattle need consistent nutrition. They'll get it year-round with Rangeland products from Land O'Lakes. Deliver what they need free choice in weather-resistant loose minerals and mineral and protein tubs. Get the most out of your forage. See your Land O'Lakes Co-op for products that will stand up to whatever Mother Nature throws at us. Weather's coming in. Rangeland. Consider it done.
Education, networking, opportunity, and fun. That's what you'll find at the 2012 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Nashville, Tennessee. Get your ticket to ride with your fellow cattlemen and women in the country music capital of the world. You'll find cutting-edge education, top-of-the-line technology, and entertainment that can't be beat. Don't miss your ticket to ride to the Cattle Industry Annual Convention and Trade Show in Nashville, Tennessee, February 1st through the 4th, 2012. For more information, visit beefusa.org.
There's nothing better than a hot bowl of chili after a long, hard day outside. And this week, we have some easy chili recipes for you. Joining me in the studio is Chef Shanoa French from the Chekhov-funded Beef Culinary Innovation Center at the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Thanks so much for coming back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You know, it looks like you outdid yourself this time. I thought it was just one recipe. You've got all kinds of bowls sitting here.
Well, it's our recipe. It's called Beef Chili 5 Ways, and you start with one quick base recipe, and then with 2 simple ingredients, you can create all these other 4 variations.
And these are the only recipes in the base?
Yep, these are the simple 5 ingredients that you need for the base. So February is National Chili Month, so we're going to talk through that real quick. Everybody has ground beef in their freezer. This is a chili grind. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can do that. It's a pound, is all you need.
Pound of ground beef.
Yep. And then it's a simple can of diced tomatoes with chilies. So that gives you a little bit of heat, a little bit of flavor.
Yep.
And then it's a can of black beans.
Black beans,
yep. Make sure you drain them and rinse them, otherwise there's a little film on them. So get rid of all that. Just one can. Can of beef broth.
Really?
Yeah, you can either do a base and then add water, or you can just buy a low sodium can if you want to.
Outstanding. And of course chili powder,
and
I
then,
guess.
our other ingredient is your simple chili powder.
How much?
It's a tablespoon. So you'll start brown your ground beef, add the cans of everything, put a lid on it, let it simmer for 20 minutes.
That's all?
Easy. 20 minutes, you have dinner. So this can be a quick evening meal as well.
Wow.
And this is your base. So you can serve it with some nice crusty bread if you want to put just a little bit of sour cream or a little bit of cheese, whatever you want for your chili. There you go.
Tortillas, whatever you want.
Yep. So that's the first one.
Okay.
So the second one, this is a Moroccan style.
Okay.
Yeah. So after you've added your chili powder, you're going to add a couple diced dates.
All right.
Make sure they're pitted. You don't want to bite them. Or you can use golden raisins. Both of those, they add a little bit of sweetness to them.
Okay.
So that, and then a little bit of pumpkin pie spice.
Really?
It's the same,
In chili?
Chili. Gives you that nice, sweet, rounded flavor. If you like to substitute beans in this recipe, you can do garbanzo beans instead of the black beans. But we've plated this here on a nice bed of couscous, a little bit of Greek yogurt, and some sliced almonds.
I have to tell you, we don't have couscous and Greek yogurt in our kitchen, but maybe we could buy it, huh?
You know, for this one, you could try it. Something different.
All right, good.
So that's number 2.
Very good. Number 3 coming up.
Number 3, we're going to move back over here. This you might have.
Yes.
This is our Mexican version.
Very good.
Have you ever had Mexican mole before?
No, I don't think so.
So it's your traditional sauce that's done in a lot of Mexican restaurants, and it's unsweetened cocoa powder. Gives it just a little bit different flavor.
Really?
They talk about Mexican chocolate, and it's not as sweet as most people in America are used to. So again, a tablespoon of this goes into at step 2. Let it simmer. And then this one, we didn't put it on anything. We added some corn tortilla chips on the side, a little bit of cilantro.
What are those other?
These are pepitas, and they're actually pumpkin seeds. So
really?
Yeah, you know how you'd crack a sunflower seed?
Oh, yeah.
This is like the inside of a sunflower seed.
And you just buy them that way?
You can buy them that way, yep. And any, you do probably need to go to like the Hispanic aisle in the grocery store, but you can get them at any grocery store.
Okay.
Yeah, so
number 3.
Number 3. This is what we call Cincinnati style.
All right.
Into step 2 in the ingredient list, you add a little bit of white vinegar. So a little liquid there. And then this is cinnamon.
Oh, really?
So yeah, a little bit of, again, that sweetness like we added pumpkin pie spice last time. Gives you a little different flavor. Anywhere that you go in Cincinnati, Ohio, you can find their pastas.
Sure. Spaghetti sometimes.
Yep, and it's kind of a chili spaghetti. This, we've done elbow macaroni noodles, a little bit of the chili, and then we've done just your standard white onions, sour cream, and a little bit of cheddar cheese.
That looks good.
So, yeah. Simple.
And then the fourth one.
The fourth and final one that we have here for you. This is actually my favorite.
Okay.
This is what we called an Italian chili.
All right.
So again, into step 2, after you've done that, before you simmer, you add a little bit of fennel. And this is the ingredient that is most commonly picked up in any Italian sausage. So you'll see that little shape. Sometimes they grind them, but it gives you a real nice sausage flavor.
Oh, neat.
So a tablespoon of that into the chili, let it simmer. Go ahead and do your pasta right before you're ready to eat. You go ahead and mix in 3 cups of spinach. This can be another way to get your kids to eat spinach if they won't. It wilts down, so you don't want to do it too early because it will turn like a brownish greenish. But if you toss it in, what I usually will do is turn off the stove right before and then stir it in and let it sit, and then go ahead and start plating here. These this is little, they're called orchetta. Oh, it's little ears pasta. They have little scoops, as you can see in there.
You can put any kind of pasta
you could do any type that you want, but this is what we've chose. And then you top it with a little bit of pine nuts and some shaved parm. And so it's a total different profile for you.
That's great.
But yeah, so all of these are on the web. You can do the base chili and leave it in the freezer. Just make sure the most important thing, in order to bring out all the ingredient flavors, you need to cook it. So if you do the base and leave it in the freezer, you bring it back out, thaw it out, make sure you add them and then at least cook for 20 minutes by by heating your spices, you bring out the flavor and let everything cook together.
Very good. Well, I've got to try one of these, Shanoa, if I can, real quickly here.
Take a little bite.
That's great.
A little Italian chili, right?
I love it. and on the 6th day, I assume you just throw them all together and have a round-the-world chili.
I guess you could. That would be an interesting combination.
Thank you so much. This is delicious. For this and other great beef recipes, visit our website at cattlemanandcattlemen.org.
Consumers count on America's cattlemen to deliver quality beef every time. So in your daily work to raise cattle, keep quality top of mind in everything you do, in the care, feeding, and handling of your animals. You can be a part of a national program that provides sound, proven guidelines for beef cattle production that will establish you as a leader and responsible stockman. Beef Quality Assurance, or BQA, is a national program funded by the Beef Checkoff that can help you strengthen your operation, improve cattle care, drive more value to the bottom line, and increase consumer confidence in the quality of America's beef. Producers across the nation have embraced the BQA program because of their commitment to be the world's best producers of beef, and because assuring beef quality is our job, not someone else's. Find out how you can become BQA certified. Visit the website bqa.org.
Tough trailers built for tough country. Big Ben Trailers manufactures a different kind of trailer, one that's built to put up with the rough conditions found on the ranch. Rugged build using heavy gauge powder coated steel and a 2x4 rectangle tube frame. There's a 1-inch gap between the side and floor, so there's no place for water or manure to accumulate and rust. Big Ben trailers are loaded with standard features: a lever action hitch, a 3-foot escape gate, and a middle sorting gate, rhino lining along the front edges, and a receiver hitch to tow another trailer, chute, or other equipment. Tough and practical. That's Big Ben Trailers, designed and built by a working cattleman. You can rely on and trust Big Ben Trailers for their durability and convenient features. Reasonably priced for any rancher to afford. For a list of dealers and other design features, visit BigBenTrailers.com. Big Ben Trailers, built cattlemen tough.
With the advent of third-party verification, cowmen are able to add value to their calves by preconditioning or early weaning, or seek specialty markets like all-natural, sugar-free, or do source and age verification for export. Well, that's what IMI does, and it's not as expensive as you might think. Call them. What do you got to lose? IMI Global's green ear tag. It's like having Honest Abe co-sign your note. IMIGlobal.com.
Let's face it, you don't think a lot about your trailer hitch. You use it and forget it. We understand. But at B&W, we think about it. Short nights, the long hauls, the never-ending chores, the unthinkable. We think about it all, so you don't have to. B&W. Trusted.
We were working cows at Grouse Creek. Tinker was the cook. It wasn't that he was a great cook, but he'd always done it. He made a big pot of chili and beans the first night. It was enough to feed the 7 of us, plus any visiting cavalry platoon. After supper, we all loaded in the pickup and drove 15 miles down to Pop's Natural Hot Springs. Well, we bathed and soaked and loaded up and drove back to our outfit. But on arrival, Tinker realized that we'd left his little dog Lady back at Pop's. He was very upset, so he backtracked. Well, the rest of us slept peacefully that night. The chili and beans were fresh. Next morning, we stumbled into breakfast. The familiar aroma of chili and beans filled the kitchen. Unusual breakfast fare, but nobody said anything. Tinker looked like a dying duck in a thunderstorm. He'd been out all night looking for Lady. He reheated the chili and beans for lunch, and by supper, chili and beans, Tinker had become irritable. He'd walk to the window every few minutes and look down the road. Well, that night, we slept with the doors and windows open in the bunkhouse. At breakfast, an unpleasant deja vu lay heavy over the table. The chili and beans was the consistency of South Dakota gumbo and smelled like burning brakes. Tinker spoke to no one all day. For supper we had chili and bean sludge. It was the closest I've come to eating lava. That night, we slept outside. Breakfast the third day was fried adobe that tasted vaguely of chili and beans. We ate in silence, accompanied by the growling sounds of indigestion and explosive borborygmia. Then we heard a scratching at the door. Tinker jumped up and ran out there and took a look. There was Lady, sore-footed, dusty, and glad to be home. Tinker picked her up like a baby and hugged her. She licked his face. Still holding her, he took a big T-bone steak out of the fridge and slapped it in the frying pan. After a couple turns, he put it on the floor in front of her, and she ate all she could and lay down, exhausted. Needless to say, we were happy for both of them, but after he left, we dove the bone. This is Baxter Black from out there.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at your farm and ranch pictures from across the country in this week's Legacy Photos. We love seeing those photos, so please keep sending them in. To do so, visit our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. Thanks so much for joining us for this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. We'll see you right back here next week on RFD TV.